Good evening, guys. I hope everyone is having a phenomenal Sunday. My name is Michael Sloggett, and it's a real pleasure to be chatting with all of you guys tonight. So, tonight's call is really awesome. We're going to be talking about something that we've never talked about in MTC before, which is going over a bunch of different stuff in and around what's considered or called smart money trading. Now, this is something that I've been very aware of. It's something that I've researched on my own. It's also a strategy that is widely used and practiced by a lot of big kind of certified investors. This is how literally smart money, and when we use the term smart money, what we're talking about is not retail. Okay, so us little guys, individuals, mums and dads, we're what we would call retail investors. And smart money is large investors, big money. And they obviously trade similar, but also quite different in the way that they, navigate financial markets. So this is the kind of strategies and stuff that when I did these courses and when I was looking at incorporating courses like this into MTC, some of the courses to learn this stuff are upwards of $30,000 to $40,000. Now, the crazy thing is, it's really great information. It's life changing stuff. However, a lot of people don't have $30,000 to $40,000 to invest in a course to then also manage a trading account as well. So as much as I wanted to bring this kind of stuff to MTC, it was out of the question because a lot of the educators who were doing it simply wanted too much money. And then it was just by chance that we brought on a new phenomenal educator who I've known from the past, who brought a completely different level of education in the decentralized finance space, who also said, "Hey, I've spent all the money to learn this stuff. Do you think it's something that MTC could benefit from?" And I said, "Man, funny you mention." So if you are on tonight's call for the very first time, obviously you just heard me talk about MTC. If you don't know what MTC is, it's a trading and education company where we teach people how to trade financial markets. And the educator that I'm going to bring on in a second, he's been with us for a little while now, and it's going to be really cool to talk about some of this stuff tonight. So if you're on this call tonight, like I said, welcome. My name is Michael. I'm the CVO at that company, and my outcome from tonight is very, very simple. What I want to do tonight more than anything else is I want to have an open and honest conversation with the gentleman that I'm about to bring on. I want to make you aware of some stuff, especially if you're interested in financial markets, that maybe you did know about. Maybe after this call, you'll know a little bit more about. And the last thing is, I'm going to give you an opportunity, if you want, to jump on board with us and participate. But here's the deal: whether you want to jump on board with us or not, that is completely up to you. I'm definitely not one of those guys that gets on one of these calls and, pitches you, sells you, tells you if you join today, it's going to be at a price that will never be repeated ever. I'm not going to tell you to give us a little bit of money today to give us it's real, real simple. We got a trading community. It's $200 a month. If you want to be a part of it, everything that we talk about tonight, you can learn. That's it. There's no crazy upsells. There's no funky business. So I'm telling you up front, my ultimate outcome is to talk to you, have an open conversation, make you aware, and hopefully convince you that what we do is worth the little bit of money that we ask. And even if you don't decide to join, what we might even be able to do is give you some references to go find some of this information on yourself. And I wish you absolutely the absolute best, regardless of what you choose. So tonight we are very, very lucky. We have a gentleman by the name of Mr. Phil Roberts. Phil Roberts has been in the trading space for a very, very long time. Phil Roberts is actually a qualified electrician. He was a tradesperson. And I don't know if you guys know these days, but electricians make a truck ton of money. Sometimes I speak to some of my mates who are Sparkies and they tell me what they're earning a day. And I'm like, maybe I should be a Sparky. But what Phil realized was that, he genuinely, as much as he loves his trade and, loves being a professional, there was a lot of money to be made from financial markets. And he decided to walk away from that. Even though his mum apparently constantly stitches him up with friends and family saying, "Oh, Phil will come and do it." He needs to say, "Mum, you got to stop bloody saying that." Um, he's all in on trading. He's all in on crypto. He's all in on forex, and now he makes a living from trading financial markets. So this is a guy who, he walks the talk. He's not one of these guys that, says this and then has a plan B. This is his bread and butter. This is what he does for a living. And what I really love about people who live and breathe it, when they're in a position where I always say, you eat what you kill. Phil has a beautiful partner. They, I think, married, right? Phil, nod. Yeah, he has a wife that, he loves and supports. So this is legit. Like, this guy's doing what he talks about. So we're very lucky to have him. We are honored for him to be a part of MTC. For the people who attended the 2-day weekend just last weekend, you got the opportunity to be up close and personal. But without further ado, Mr. Phil Roberts, how are you, man?
What's going on, man? Thanks for the intro.
No, it's my pleasure, bro. I'm always jealous of a man who has more books than me behind him. You just look smart. Like, I don't look smart to begin with, but you look way smarter by default just because of the amount of. I got some. I got more
The
Ninja
glasses and the
Turtles
books, mate.
than I got books, but there are some there. I promise I read. So, man, like, I guess, Phil, but without before we get stuck in the questions, give us a quick rundown, man. A couple of minutes on your journey on kind of how you got to where you are now.
So I started in with you. So Mick had another company prior to MTC, and I learned to trade through him. Didn't know
Oh,
absolutely anything about the financial markets.
I always forget that. I always
Yeah.
forget that. People are like, "Oh, Mick, I was a student of yours," and because you guys go off. Sorry to cut you off. You go off and
No,
become
you're
the
right. So back in the Spartan
yeah.
course, signed up to that, and I'd kind of seen it for like a year on Facebook, and I'd been following you prior and stuff like that, and I was never someone that was, I guess, financially savvy. And I'd always see that stuff and I'd be like, it's interesting, but I just thought you had to be super smart to learn it. So I kept making excuses. And one day it popped up and I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this a crack and see if I like it. And I signed up. And yeah, after the first few months, I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. You don't have to be super smart to be able to learn this stuff. So I got involved and yeah, kept at it, kept working, jumping on all the calls, attended all the events, paid for like a boardroom as well, went to that and just kept working. And I jumped into the community and what was good for me was like I was helping all the other students, all the other new students that came in. And I felt that was good for me as well because it was helping me be able to understand what it is that I was actually learning. And then yeah, from there I kind of just developed a bit of a passion for it. It was fun. I enjoyed it, and just kept at it, and I was still working as an electrician at that time. Um, and yeah, during my spare time, like after work, I'd put a few hours a week. I didn't have any kids, so that was always helps have a lot more free time, obviously. So I was able to continue to learn and trade and stuff like that. And then yeah, I got to a stage where I could replace my income, and I took the leap. Well, it was actually I had my own contractor business at that stage, so I was gradually reducing my days. So I'd gone from full time, cut back to say 3 days. When I got a little bit more comfortable, cut back to 1 day and stuff like that. And now I've been doing it full time for the last couple of years and really enjoying it. So, that's where I am now.
And I love that. I love that. One of like I said, I didn't mean to cut in, but I always love when I kind of remember because every now and again I was like, Donnie will say, "Oh yeah, I started off as a student of mix," and then when you say, "Oh, I started off as a student of mix," and
Yeah.
even ASX, who's been around for ages, like, "Oh, I actually did mix course once back in the day," and There's other great people out there as well. A really, really good friend of mine. I'm about to go to Singapore and catch up with her, Anastasia Stells from Trade Travel Chill. Like she went on to become an absolute just juggernaut in the
Yeah,
industry.
she's killing
And,
it.
started off, uh, you know, $300 course and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So what I love about that as well is it makes the story so real. And I love I really, really love that you shared that because it reminded me of how many other testimonials we've created along the way. It's been 8 years, bro.
Yeah,
8 years.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So all right, well let's get stuck into this. So obviously, we all know, well, a lot of us know about technical analysis, which is understanding and reading charts. A lot of us in MTC right are now learning about decentralized finance, which is really, really cool. But then there's this whole other concept that it's another layer on top of everything that we're doing called smart money trading, right? So tell us about that.
So smart money trading, I guess you could think of it as kind of like advanced technical analysis, because everyone, when they get started, we learn the basics, like the fundamentals, like your candlestick, support resistance, all that stuff. But smart money is a little bit more advanced on that. So it's kind of looking at how the big players in the markets kind of trade, how they position their orders, and how you can kind of understand where those orders lie and look for the signs that they leave so that you can kind of get on the right side of the move. Because as you know yourself, the retail traders like us, we don't move the market. The market moves through smart money. So these smart money individuals, whether they're, banks, big hedge funds, whatever, they place huge orders and they're the ones that drive the market. And smart money trading is essentially just finding the signs in the market and aiming to get on the right side of the move. So when they drive price up, I'm wanting to get on that bandwagon and ride price up with them.
Yeah. So when we talk about smart money, obviously we're talking about hedge funds, we're talking about obviously large investors
Yeah.
that have a lot of intel that can also kind of move the market with their buy orders. And it's kind of partnering up with them and being on that side. I know some people also might refer to this as the market making strategy, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, awesome. So smart money trading, cool, got it. What are the strategies? What's kind of involved?
So there's a fair few strategies in smart money, but I guess most of them kind of center around a couple of different concepts, mainly order blocks, fair value gaps, and liquidity sweeps. So what I mean by that is, if there's a large pool of liquidity somewhere, smart money, if they want to get into say they want to get into the market, right? And there's a large pool of liquidity below price, they want to drive price into that area so that those orders can fill their orders, if that makes sense. So there's a few different strategies, but a lot of them center around that. So order blocks being, large pools of orders that we see on the chart and we expect price to kind of return to them. We can get our entry and write it up. And then fair value gaps being imbalances in price. So a lot of the times in the market, when you're looking at the candlesticks, for every buyer, there's a seller and vice versa. And sometimes the market, when it pushes in one direction, it will leave an imbalance in price. And fair value gaps are basically that. We look for price to push away, come back down to these gaps, and we get in. There's obviously a lot more in it, but that's the short and sweet version.
So one thing that I say sometimes as well is people using things like heat maps, right, to be able to find all those different, and they're really cool looking charts. Like I love looking at heat
Yeah.
map charts. You're going to teach us all that stuff, right?
Pretty much. So not so much heat maps themselves, but understanding where that liquidity is without having to look at the heat map. So
Got it.
I used to look at
Got it.
heat maps as well, but once you kind of understand the smart money concepts and how, you look at a chart and you can kind of tell where the big pools of liquidity are and stuff like that. So
Okay.
doing this, you can kind of just look at a chart and be like, all right, I know there's probably big orders here. And this is where
Got
I'm
it.
going to wait for kind of price to manipulate to, and then look to trade if we get a rejection off that kind of thing.
Okay. So I want to turn it back for a second.
Yep.
So everything that you just said, let's pretend for a second there's someone on the call who's brand new, who's never traded before, who doesn't understand anything that you just said, right? And it just went there like, oh shit, I'm never gonna understand this. How easy is it to, once you start learning this and you're obviously teaching it, how easy is it to learn this stuff? Because what you just said sounds really, really advanced and a little bit not confusing, but to someone who knows no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Can anyone just learn this, or do you have to be like,
No, anyone can learn it. The thing that I the thing that I kind of struggled with at the start was when I learned it, it was very, very complex, and it was hard to find like simplified versions of it, I guess you could say. I'm someone that likes to learn, really, really simple, like dumb it down for me so I can understand it, in layman's terms. And I've spent so long building this course mainly because I'm trying to essentially figure out a way to like transfer what's in my head into a slides and into like presentations that I can explain really, really simply. And
I love it. I love
I think I've achieved that. Like I'm pretty excited to bring this to you guys because yeah, if you're someone that isn't technically minded like myself, I'm pretty confident that I can explain this in a way that everyone is going to understand.
Yeah, I love that, and it's funny. I learn best the same way. I didn't know that until I joined the military, and then when I realized how like the military breaks down like almost every step to like the most simplest of, you know, to the point
Yeah.
where you walk, you say left, right,
Yeah.
just
Well, they do it for a reason, don't they? Because that's
yeah.
the best way people learn, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you know, and I've never thought about that until just now. But when you're marching around, they tell you what foot to move. Like it's
Yeah.
left, right, left, right. It's like it's not by chance. Just we're too dumb to. We'll get it wrong if you don't remind us. You know.
Yeah.
What's really cool about what you just said though, and I'm glad that you shared that, is you've made this really, really, really simple, which is awesome. Because for me, when I found trading, as a housing commission kid who has a year 9 pass in English and maths, I always thought that this stuff was like for the people from the northern suburbs. I thought it was for the elite. I thought it was for the rich. And then when I managed to get someone to teach it to me and I understood it, I was like, I need to teach more people this. Like I need to show the world. Because the first thing in my head, I was like, oh my god, I've got like broke dumb friends that could be rich if they just learned this. Like how can I teach this in a way that they understand, which is exactly why I teach the way that I teach. And I'm glad that you're going to be teaching this, obviously in your own flavor, thank god, but in a way that I'll be able to enjoy it as well. So
Definitely, man. It's been good. Like the way I've laid this out, like I said, it should be simple for everyone to understand. This smart money stuff, when I learned it, it completely changed the way I trade. And I got much better as a trader when I learned to
yeah,
implement these kind of concepts and stuff like that. So yeah,
I love
I'm super confident that anyone that jumps on with us is going to get a whole bunch of value from this.
it. Okay. So going through just some notes that Craig had sent me earlier on about what it is that you're going to be going over.
Yeah.
You're going to be talking a lot about back testing, right, and the importance of back testing. So, what are you going to be teaching people in and around that? Help us understand.
So I've got one lesson on back testing, and it's the reason I put it in there is because it's one of those things that often gets overlooked, but it's such an important thing when it comes to trading successfully for a few reasons, right? One is when you have a strategy, right? A lot of people will either copy someone else's strategy or they'll develop their own, but they don't actually go back and see how it kind of performed in the past. And that's what backtesting is. Backtesting is using past market data and applying that strategy to it to get an estimate of how your strategy is likely to perform in the market. Okay. The old, like, what is it? What's the saying? Past performance isn't guaranteed future results or whatever, but it's pretty close, right? Because the market kind of, if you're testing it in an uptrend, chances are it's probably going to be pretty accurate with the results that you're going to get. So by doing that, it kind of builds confidence in your strategy as well. Okay. Because when you're trading, obviously, it's not all wins. There are definitely losses involved as well. And I find that when you backtest the strategy over, a large amount of trades, you get that estimate of, estimated win rate, estimated, all these different statistics that you can kind of track. And it will kind of give you that confidence to go, all right, if I put this into play in a live market and I follow my strategy exactly how it's laid out, I'll get a 70% win rate or a 60% win rate or something like that. And it builds that confidence in you that when you lose a trade, you're pretty confident that over the long run, that strategy is going to play out if you've back tested it and have had success in the past. So it's just going over all that sort of stuff, how to backtest, what different programs that we can use, the different metrics to track and understanding how to put it into play, I guess, or how to pick apart which statistics you kind of need, if that makes sense.
It does, man. It does. I thought when you started talking about that analogy with the peas, I thought in the military we had one which is prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. I was like, oh shit. I was like, I didn't know traders use that as well. But no, I really, really love that you're gonna spend an entire lesson on that. Yeah, Chris Johnson knows exactly the 7 Ps. Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. And Luke asked a question: is this on Forex, stocks, and BTC?
Yes, that's a good question actually, because I'm the Forex educator in MTC, but I pretty much trade everything. So I trade crypto and Forex using the exact same strategies. I also do NFTs, DeFi, all that stuff. But this stuff I'm teaching can be applied to both Forex and crypto. Obviously, there's a few small discrepancies, which I do touch on in that because the Forex market closes over the weekend, whereas crypto's 24/7. But a lot of the smart money stuff, I actually forgot to mention at the start, Mick, it has a big emphasis on price and time. So basically, price has to be at a certain area and time, it has to be within a certain time window because smart money isn't trading 24/7. You think of them like a business, right? A hedge fund that operates from 9 till 5 or something like that. And a lot of the big hedge funds are based in America. So a lot of the American times is generally where majority of the volume comes into the market. And smart money is essentially about taking advantage of the windows of time that have the highest trading volume in the market.
So this is where we see, even some traders out there, they talk about trading certain times, so session times. And I always see, US Open, Asia Open, UK Open, and it's understanding when those, I guess opportunities are, and understanding when and how to leverage them, right?
Yeah.
I love
Just
it.
picking the best times that kind of suit your lifestyle because everyone's going to trade at different times, aren't they?
Well, crypto people usually 24/7.
Yeah.
That's why we're such a healthy looking bunch.
Yeah.
But I just also wanted to apologize if you guys just saw my eyes walking around and then I looked to the right to have a conversation. My 15-year-old son has just pulled up on his motorbike and he's missing a bunch of skin, which is going to be a great conversation I get to have in about 10 minutes time. But so if you saw me mouth and I love you, I'm like, oh God, give me a second. So the last thing that I really wanted to ask is, obviously, I'm a crypto guy. I love crypto. Um, my routine in around crypto these days is actually quite simple. I wake up in the morning, I do my 10 charts. When it comes to DeFi, I check on the handful of things that I need to check on. And I've built a really good kind of robust plan that really supports my lifestyle, which is, I'm so thankful and grateful that I found trading because the lifestyle that I have from it is ridiculous. But like are you going to talk about like, because this is new stuff? Do we need to build like a new routine around this? Are you going to, is there things that people need to do differently? Like, are you going to help everyone kind of be able to do this and kind of like what you've done?
Definitely. So one huge thing that I'm a massive advocate of is having a like a proper plan on how you're essentially going to manage the way you trade in the market. And there's so many different things that this kind of covers, but this is kind of going to change on, if you're someone that trades the higher time frames, if you're someone that trades within a day, so you kind of get in and out in a session and stuff like that. But the biggest thing that I've found over the years that differentiates a novice trader from a professional is their plan, right? Most people kind of don't really have a plan. They just jump in and if they see a setup, they take it. They don't track anything. They don't really have proper plans in place. And this is really going to go over, how I personally approach the market on the weekends. So doing like a review of the market, um, looking at the week ahead, so we have an economic calendar. So when different news events come out, how they might affect price action in the markets, how we track our data, how we review our data and stuff like that. So it's more so from a more professional standpoint. So if you're someone that really wants to take this seriously, I'm pretty much going to go start to finish on how to lay out a proper plan to follow, so that you can really get the most out of this and create a routine that you can get some success from.
Man, I'm genuinely personally like I'm so excited for this. I what I've loved more than anything in MTC the last 6 months, like I've been able to become like a little bit of a student of the game again as well. And since you and Donnie got involved, the amount of stuff that we now get the opportunity to learn, especially with DeFi, now smart money. I've been teaching people how to trade for 8 years. We've taught well over 40,000 people, and continually adding to my own kind of tool belt and my own arsenal and my own kind of, you know, I just love that this is something that we get to continue to evolve and do. So before we kind of wind up, have you got any kind of parting words before I share a little bit with the guys?
Pretty much just elaborating on what you just said then, always remaining a student. Like that's a big thing for me as well. Smart money, there's so many things that you can learn and that you can apply. And it's like, you know, some people will pick some things, other people will pick other things and stuff like that. And for me, being a professional trader and also teaching people how to do the same is I'm always remaining a student. So forever, sharpening the tool set, learning new things so I can kind of pass on to the community and stuff like that. And one thing I'm actually doing after I wrap up this smart money course is I'm doing a program on a couple of different concepts that I teach in this course, but I'm going to elaborate on it in, much more greater detail so I can get just level up my skill set in that department and hopefully, create something in the future and bring that to you guys as well. So just forever learning new things, man.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. So, first of all, man, like, thank you so much, Phil. Again, spending the last weekend with you is just badass, dude. I really enjoyed that. You guys added so much value. And look, guys, like I said, here's the deal. It's real simple. What we do at MTC is we teach people how to make money. At MTC, you can do it in a handful of different ways. We have a really badass course that teaches bare bones basics. So if you don't even know what Bitcoin is or how to create a wallet, we have everything that you need that starts from there, that goes all the way through to being able to trade these assets, learning all about leverage and making as little or as much money from the markets as you want. And we have a huge focus on personal development and health and fitness. We've got an amazing community. It's full of some of the most beautiful humans on God's green earth. We don't have anything to upsell you. It's not one of those things where if you come and join us, we're going to be trying to sell you something else every other day of the week. We've got one membership. It's $200 a month. There's no hidden costs. There's no anything. If you want to be a part of us, that's literally what it's going to cost you. And if you sign up, you get access to everything we do. So you get the Bitcoin basics course, the trading course, you get access to all the DeFi stuff. You also get access to the upcoming course with Phil Roberts. And for the first time this month, we're giving you access to all of our 2-day weekends as well that you can get access to, that previously you had to be a part of a war room or one of our special events. So I'm of the belief, guys, that the world is changing really quickly, really, really fast. And right now, I don't know if you guys are in Australia, but the cost of living in Australia has gotten ridiculous. And the truth is, people are struggling now more than ever. And if you don't learn how to make a little bit of extra money now, I'm just telling you, like, you're going to get to a point where you're probably forced to do it. And what I've always found is, like we just said, prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. If you aren't hurting now, I pray that that continues. But now's the time to really get involved. Now's the time to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to learn some stuff. I'm going to participate in this. And my promise is this: I'm the CVO at the company. We got a bunch of really badass educators. I mean, like, our guys are legit, and we will work our absolute butts off to make sure that you have everything that you need to be as competent as humanly possible in this space. And I promise we'll do it from a place of love with a smile on our face, and we'll make sure that you got some good people around you and a community of people that genuinely want to see you win. So if you want to get involved, get with the person who got you on tonight's call. And I truly look forward to hopefully meeting you and seeing you in the community very, very soon. Again, thank you so much, Phil. Thank you, everyone. It's so good to see so many beautiful, familiar faces. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. God bless, and I will see you all soon. Take care.
See you guys.